Sup guys, it's Alex here, and welcome to the January 26th edition of the Bracketology. We are almost in February. I mean, look at the movement in this bracket here. College basketball is starting to get crazy, and as soon as the Super Bowl ends in a couple weeks, college basketball is going to be at the forefront of sports fans' minds. We're going to have football all done and over with. NBA is just going to be weird with the way it's laid out this year. I mean, it won't even be finishing until around like late June or whatever. So, I mean, college basketball riding high right now. I mean, there's a couple teams that have the COVID pauses, like Michigan or whatever. But either way, I mean, that was to be expected with just the world we live in right now. But we are getting some fantastic basketball, especially last night. If you didn't catch my video, West Virginia hit a game winner with like 7 seconds left to beat Texas Tech by 1. Texas Tech had a chance to go win the game, but Mac McClung missed a shot at the buzzer. But either way, that was a great win for West Virginia. Great showing by Texas Tech too, nothing against them. But man, I am so excited for the college basketball season right now. So many upsets happening, so many teams, unexpected teams having great seasons. I mean, look at Alabama. Number 2 seed right now over there in Region 2. They are absolutely killing it. They look like a team that can make a run in the tournament. They are firing on all cylinders right now, both on offense, defense, and in the win column. So either way, really excited about how the season is looking. Let's take a look at the bracket. So if we go over here in Region 1, we still have Gonzaga remaining the 1 seed, Oregon down to an 8, Connecticut down to a 9, Florida State continuing their great run as of late. They've had like 3 straight quality wins. They beat Louisville, they beat somebody else, and then they beat Clemson. They just absolutely destroyed Clemson, I think, on Saturday. But I think it ended up being like 17 or 18, but it was like 30-35 for the majority of the game. Then we have Purdue up to a 6, Virginia up to a 3. Florida State and Virginia are looking like the class of the ACC right now. Then we have Florida up to a 7. They got a huge win against Tennessee this past week. And then Grand Canyon is new to the field. Iowa also lost to Indiana on, I think, Friday night, something like that. And then over there in Region 2, we got Baylor remaining the 1 seed, Virginia Tech down to an 8. They just suspended one of their starting guards after a DUI or something like that, so I don't know what's going to happen with that situation or how the team's going to look. Then we got BYU up to a 9. Stanford and Michigan State are the playing game. Tennessee down to a 4. Wisconsin down to a 3. Louisville up to a 7. San Diego State new to the field as a 10. They are looking pretty good recently, too. I think they beat Air Force twice last week to get back into the field. Then we have Alabama up to a 2, as I mentioned earlier. In Region 3, we have Michigan remaining the 1, UMBC down to a 16, so they're back in that 16 spot. Then we got Texas Tech down to a 5, Minnesota down to a 6, Missouri back up to a 3. I think they also beat Tennessee last week. I know Florida beat them during the weekend, and I think Missouri beat Tennessee on Saturday. Then we have Siena down to a 14, St. Louis up to a 7, and then Northeastern down to a 15. Then over there in Region 4, we got Cleveland State falling to a 16. Then we got Clemson, who is just continuing their free fall. They had to put a pause on their basketball activities due to COVID, and they just look so sluggish. I don't know what happened during those 14 days, but they are just not playing good basketball at all right now. They are down to an 8. Then we got Kansas down to a 4 after they've lost 3 in a row on their own. And then Liberty new to the field as a 13. Maryland and Seton Hall are the playing game right there. Maryland's been doing pretty good as of late in the just gauntlet that is the Big Ten this year. Then we got Ohio State up to a 3 after getting that win against Wisconsin this weekend. Oklahoma up to a 7, and then LSU down to a 10. So then if we take a look over here at the bubble, if I scroll down, we got San Diego State, Arkansas, North Carolina, and Rutgers on the bubble. Rutgers, I can't remember who they beat. I think it was Indiana on Sunday or something like that to be able to stay in the last 4 buys. They were in the last 4 in, but then got that quality win. Speaking of last 4 in, we have Seton Hall, Maryland, Stanford, and then the last team in the tournament, Michigan State, hanging on by the, I was going to say like tail feathers or whatever. I don't remember what the saying is. But either way, Michigan State could fall out of the field as well, which is just crazy. Kentucky, Duke already out. They're not even in the first 8 teams out of the tournament. That's how bad of seasons they're having. Then Michigan State could find themselves out as well. And then you even see North Carolina over there in the last 4 buys. They are in no shape or form safe for the tournament either. Then first 4 out are Utah State, Richmond, Loyola, Chicago, and Pittsburgh. And then the next 4 out are Syracuse, Providence, SMU, and Penn State. So if we take a look over here at the bracket, if you're new to this channel every freaking week, or not every freaking week, twice every week right now, and then it'll be even more once we get closer to the tournament, like February will probably be up to 3 per week, and then back in March we'll be doing it every single day, whether it be Joe Lunardi or Jerry Palm from CBS. But we make our predictions for the NCAA tournament based off of the bracketology and just how the brackets shake them out, because I am a nerd for college basketball and I just love doing it. And it's kind of what my channel's become at this point. I used to be like a video game YouTuber for like NBA 2K and Madden and all that fun stuff, but those didn't get any views because I wasn't very I wasn't very charismatic compared to like Chris Smoove and QJB, Onto the Boss, all those guys from way back whenever I used to do it. But either way, here we find ourselves making predictions on the January 26th Bracketology update. If you're watching it, I'm going to go ahead and make the food item here at the middle of the video instead of at the end for people just to go ahead and skip through the end, see who won the championship, and then try to find my food item. If you're watching at this point in the video, it's probably like 5 minutes, 30 seconds in, somewhere around there. Let's go with, gosh, what do we want to go with? Let's just go with shredded cheese. How about that? Shredded cheese is going to be the food item this time around. If you're watching, comment shredded cheese so I know you're a legit subscriber, I know you're a legit viewer, that you're going to stick with me through thick and thin and keep watching these videos so I can point you out and give you a like in the comment section. But let's go ahead and make our predictions. Up first, we're going to have Gonzaga obviously beat the winner of NC A&T and Prairie View A&M. Then we're going to have Connecticut pulling off the slight upset with 9/8 over Oregon. I just don't really know what to think of Oregon. They're pretty inconsistent this year. They just lost to Oregon State a couple of weeks ago. Then we have Florida State here beating Toledo, West Virginia hanging on against Belmont. We're also going to have Purdue beating Arkansas. I would have picked Arkansas a couple of weeks ago, but they're just not looking good, and Purdue's stacking up some quality wins right now, up to a 6 seed. Then we have Virginia moving on past Bryant. Then I am going to go with an upset pick here. I'm going to go with the 10-seeded Drake Bulldogs over Florida. Drake is still undefeated at this point in the season, and I think they can make some noise, especially when, as an at-large team right now, or not an at-large team, and they're obviously their conference automatic qualifier right now, but as a mid-major, they are up to a 10 in the bracketology, which is pretty crazy, and you know you got a good team whenever that happens, similar to Wofford a couple of years ago. Then we're going to have Iowa here moving on past Grand Canyon. Then for a spot in the Sweet 16, we have Gonzaga moving on past Connecticut. Then Florida State pulling off the slight 5/4 upset over West Virginia. Then we're going to have Purdue falling to Virginia, just like they did in the, I think it was the Elite Eight from back a couple of years ago in 2019 at the game that I was able to go to. That was just a crazy game back whenever they had Carson Edwards. And then I think that was the game to where Kihei Clark had done that like almost full court pass over to Diakite, and he forced, I think it was overtime, with that crazy last-second shot. Either way, I'm going off on a tangent. We're going to have Iowa beat Drake there. As much as I'd love to see Drake pulling off the upset there, I just can't see it happening with Luka Garza. Then for a spot in the Elite Eight, we got Gonzaga moving on past Florida State. And then I'm going to go with Virginia here, moving on past Iowa. Iowa's biggest Achilles heel is playing defense. That is what Virginia is fantastic at doing. I think it'll be a really interesting matchup there. And Virginia's proven over these last few games that they can score some points. They are looking pretty good. They scored like 80 or something like that their last 3 games, something like that, crazy. I think Virginia could pull off the 3/2 slight upset there, but then they will fall to Gonzaga like they already did this year. I'm pretty sure Gonzaga had beaten Virginia earlier in the season. I'm going to go with Gonzaga moving on to the Final Four. So then over here in Region 2, we got Baylor moving on past whoever wins that playing game. Virginia Tech, I think, will be able to beat BYU, even if they don't have that guard. I think by the time the tournament rolls around, they'll get that situation figured out. Then I think Creighton will pull off the victory there over the Stanford and Michigan State game, which at this point is probably going to be Stanford, just with the way Michigan State's been playing. And we got Tennessee pulling off the victory against UAB. Then I'm going to go with Rutgers pulling off the slight upset there. Actually, it's a pretty decent upset, 11/6. I believe in Rutgers. They just are so inconsistent. I mean, part of that's the Big Ten, but I do believe in Rutgers, kind of similar to Illinois. I just believe in the team. I don't know what it is. Then we're going to have Wisconsin here moving on past Navy. Louisville, I think, will be able to beat San Diego State, and then Alabama will beat Texas State. Then for a spot in the Sweet 16, we got Baylor moving on past Virginia Tech. Tennessee beating Creighton. Then we have Rutgers. I think they can do it. I think they can pull the 11/3 upset there over Wisconsin. I know these two teams played pretty recently. I'm probably sure Wisconsin ended up winning that game just because Rutgers had lost like 6 of their last 7 before they beat Indiana. But either way, I just believe in Rutgers. I believe in Rutgers. I'm going to probably be saying it till the tournament rolls around, and I'll be proven wrong whenever they lose first round. But either way, I have them moving on to the Sweet 16 here as an 11/3 upset. Then we're going to have Alabama beat Louisville. For a spot in the Elite Eight, we got Baylor moving on past Tennessee, and then we're going to have Alabama moving on past Rutgers. Then for a spot in the Final Four, I really want to pick Alabama here, but I just can't do it. Baylor just keeps stacking these quality wins and getting victories. I got to go with Baylor here in the Final Four. Then over here in Region 3, we're going to have Michigan moving on past UMBC, Oklahoma State moving on past Xavier, then Texas Tech moving on past St. Bonaventure, along with Illinois over Wofford. Then we're going to go with Minnesota here, pulling off the 6/11 over North Carolina. Not an upset there, but it just kind of feels like it with just the historical stature of those two programs. Then Missouri here will move on past Siena. I think Indiana can pull off the 10-7 slight upset over St. Louis, and then Texas will beat Northeastern. Then for a spot in the Sweet 16, we got Michigan moving on past Oklahoma State and Cade Cunningham. Oh, Texas Tech and Illinois. Oh, I don't know what to do with this matchup here. You guys know how much I love Illinois, but they've been so inconsistent this year. Texas Tech has been a model of consistency. They just ended up losing by 1 to West Virginia in a game that by no means losing that game is a bad omen for Texas Tech. I mean, I gotta go with the team that I'm gonna go with Texas Tech. I mean, I believe in Illinois more, but the results just haven't been there. I know that Wisconsin fans are going to be mad about me making that same argument for Rutgers, but moving them on. Either way, I'm just going to go with Texas Tech there. Then I'm going to go with Minnesota pulling off the 6-3 here over Missouri, and then Texas moving on past Indiana. Then for a spot in the Elite Eight, we got Michigan moving on past Texas Tech, and then we're going to have Minnesota pulling off the 6-2 over Texas Tech, which sets up the third or probably fourth matchup between Minnesota and Michigan, assuming they probably play in the Big Ten tournament. I am going to go with blue. I'm going to go with Michigan moving on. And then over here in Region 4, we have Villanova moving on past Cleveland State. Clemson, I think, will fall to Boise State. I just haven't seen it from Clemson these last couple of weeks. Then we're going to go with Winthrop pulling off the 12-5 over UCLA, and then Kansas beating Liberty. Then I'm going to go with Colorado beating the winner of Maryland and Seton Hall, which I think would probably be Maryland. Ohio State will be able to beat UC Irvine. I think Oklahoma, they just got that victory over Kansas. I think they can get the victory over LSU, who just lost to Kentucky. And then Houston will beat Sam Houston State. Then for a spot in the Sweet 16, we got Villanova moving on past Boise State, and then Kansas moving on past Winthrop. We're also going to have Ohio State here moving on past Colorado, and then Houston moving on past Oklahoma, if I can go ahead and pick them. There we go. But then for a spot in the Elite Eight here, I am going to go with Villanova over Kansas. Just don't believe in Kansas' ability to make a run this season. And then I'm also going to go with Houston here moving on past Ohio State. But then for a spot in the Final Four, I'm going to go with an upset with Houston over Villanova. I know I had Houston losing to Drake. There's a Jimmy John's email right there. I don't know why it appeared. But either way, I believe in Houston this year. I think they can get the victory over Villanova with Quentin Grimes, and I think they have a couple of other really good players. I just believe in that team. They're like number 6 in the nation for a reason right now. I mean, Villanova is also number 3 in the nation for a reason right now. But I think Houston can make get the victory there and move on to the Final Four. I especially just don't want to have 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four. But then for a spot in the national championship, we got Gonzaga here moving on past Houston, and then Baylor moving on past Michigan. I mean, these are just the clear top 2 teams in college basketball right now, Gonzaga and Baylor. And I am going to go with Gonzaga pulling off the national championship victory. I'm just probably flip-flopping between these 2 teams every bracketology that I do. I mean, they're just clearly the top 2 teams in the nation right now, and they deserve to be in the national championship, and one of them deserves to be the national champion, obviously. So either way, there we have it. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy it. Leave your own comments in the comment section below on how you think my predictions went and your own predictions. Let me know what you think of those. And I just try to do this outro super quick or whatever. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Comment the food item if you are watching, and I will see you all later.